Alrighty, Friday, February 23rd session recap. Now, we came into the session wanting to see essentially what I was primarily looking for was an inside day, a day that is categorized by tighter range bound action. Now, I was slightly off with that analysis. In that, price actually traded up through that prior day high. Generally speaking, whenever we have a trend day, a breakout play of yesterday's magnitude, we're usually going to see a bit of an inside day, a bit of a consolidation day, tighter range trading. Now, price actually broke that prior day high during the pre-market session, attempted to show a bit of a continuation there. Really, this action is just bagging any late chasers who want to jump in here, may have missed yesterday's long, think it's just going to continue to rip. Ends up just making a fresh session low, breaking that prior day high and trading down into the overnight low. So careful with this type of action. Make sure you're not getting involved way up here, right? Anytime we have a big trend day like yesterday, prices are actually trading up through that prior day high. You want some sort of pullback that comes into a known area of structure that you can use to get long. We had the 5100 level as kind of one of the main levels of interest for the session. That also aligns pretty nicely with the prior day volume point of control. Ended up being a pretty nice area to be establishing some longs. If we take a look at the chart here, once this actually put that bounce in, right, you have a pre-market low right through there, price bounces, you get a retest down into 5100. Nice action up into that VWAP zone, that prior day high zone. So good scalping opportunities. Again, 5100 test, nice scalp opportunities. If you're wanting to short, you have prior day high and VWAP right through there as well to nail the shorts down into 5100. So good scalping opportunities within the tighter range day on ES. Personally, I was focused more so on NQ. Generally speaking, when ES is just trading with a big breakout play following a trend day, we have no real reference points to work with, no strong reference points, I should say, to work with. I'm going to be focused on whatever else can kind of give me a stronger structure to work with. In this case, we had NQ. The reason this was a little bit better, so if we look at the hourly chart, NQ hadn't actually made a fresh all-time high just yet. It did blip higher right into the regular trading hours open, but this is a much stronger level that we can lean on. ES did not have that, so we can really lean on this pivot. We can lean on this pivot as well, where my cursor is, for trade ideas. That's not something that we saw in ES. So that's kind of how I'll distinguish between trading ES or NQ, because I definitely have gotten some questions on that in the past. Personally, I'm more interested in just leaning on whichever one offers the better structure. In this case, it was definitely NQ. You can see that fresh all-time high being made. Again, very similar to what I had mentioned in ES. Don't want to really be buying up here. I mean, look at the pre-market action, right? It's just vertical. We know price is going to give a pullback, so you don't want to be caught with entries way up here. Look for that pullback, or if you're interested in shorting, these can be good areas to get short. Look at this, price breaks below that prior all-time high. You can see on my chart right here, retest, rejects. That's a phenomenal short. No real bid at VWAP, no real interest at VWAP. There was an attempt to hold prices. There was a bid found at that prior day volume point of control. That's usually going to be a significant reference point in the index. You can see it right through here. If I go into the 5-minute chart with the prior day profile shown here, you can see that prior day volume point of control. Pretty nice 5-minute hammer there, right? Good indication that some buyers are stepping in, but again, no follow through, no break of that 5-minute hammer high. So not a valid trigger there as far as actually establishing a trade. We have a signal, but for confirmation, it's just not there. So you have to be bidding either versus that prior day volume point of control, or just waiting for lower prices. Now, I didn't love the action that I personally saw here in this zone. Not all that compelling. What would have actually made that compelling is if price broke this high right through here, then retested your prior day high, and gave us some type of signal right through there. So I just bring that up because you want to know exactly what you're looking for depending on where price is located within kind of the bigger picture structure. Now, we did not see that type of setup right through there. And so I'm going to be looking for reaction versus a lower level of interest. In this case, it was the 17,965. Start to get a pretty nice bid there. And the big clue for me on this level right there, exhaustion volume, right? Huge exhaustion volume. So that tells me that this move is likely coming to an end. I need to find an entry. Found the entry with a bit of a Wyckoff spring right through there, and it ends up being a phenomenal long back into that 18K, back into that VWAP area. Not only that, always keep in mind when we're dealing with a pretty large trend move like we had in NQ here, throw a fib on it, just kind of see what that retracement is looking like. That 50% to 61% is always going to either be a buy zone or another sell zone. Not unusual to be retracing 50% to 61% of the initial move. And so with that in mind, you can kind of use that for targets or for reestablishing shorts. So we do have the fibs right through there. You also have VWAP, right? Same scenario right through here. Good short opportunities down into, again, that 18K, right? Pre-market low, same thing right over here. So good two-way action today. Solid two-way action today in both ES and NQ. Good scalpers market today. Some decent activity. What I want to see for Monday on NQ is really how this 18K, this prior pivot, continues to trade. Really want to see if buyers are going to continue to attempt to defend this 18K. You could see the hourly candle right through there, the big hammer. Strong attempt was made. Price just gets knocked back down at that prior day volume point of control. But again, responsive buyers in this 17,965, 18K area. So those are going to be two levels of interest for Monday's session. The structure, definitely intermediate term, it's just a range, right? We're just trading sideways. On the near term now, we did have that change in character following this downtrend. So buyers still largely in control here from a structural perspective. Not unusual to see this type of action following, a monster vertical move like we saw Wednesday's close into yesterday. Now, as far as ES, buyers are not really in trouble here until price starts to fail to hold 5066. This is your daily time frame breakout following what was a multi-week range. And so a retest of that prior breakout point is not out of the question and definitely would not be unusual, right? Something like this. You can also just continue to see consolidation here, but buyers definitely in control of this tape as well, this big picture structure here on ES. We are in quite a seasonally weak period, end of February, early March. So quite interesting to see prices holding near all-time highs. We really want to keep an eye on how this structure continues to develop. As far as what I'm looking for on ES come Monday, prior day range, which is today's range, is going to be the main watch. Let's take a look at the shape of the daily candle. Let this reload, but you can kind of see a bit exhausted, right? Definitely a bit exhausted. Look at the last time we had kind of a fresh all-time high and then kind of that exhaustion candle right through there. Prices resolved lower. So on Monday, you want to be keeping a really close eye on today's low. It's going to give a good clue for how the session is going to be trading. That was around that 50.92 area. Let me get back into this chart right through here. Yeah, 50.92, right? So 50.92 fails, just looking at ultra near-term structure right through here. Today's low, trade down into 50.75. Essentially, and likely that prior all-time high. That's what we'll be looking at. Now, a lot of volume is being done here around 5,100. You can see that prior day volume point of control as well as today's volume point of control. So is that distribution or reaccumulation? That is yet to be seen. Likely find out on Monday, Tuesday. So that's the game plan for Monday ES, looking at today's range, most importantly 5,100 and today's low, that 50.92 area. NQ failed breakout, right? Failed daily time frame breakout up through here. We really want to see, look at this daily candle, right? Very similar approach. Showing a bit of exhaustion there. That was a failed breakout attempt on NQ today. So very similar. What I'll be doing here is just looking at how price trades versus today's low, right? If that area fails, we'll be looking at that downside level of interest, 17,900. And then keep in mind, still a massive unfilled gap here. Let's take a look at that same thing on ES. Yeah, still a massive unfilled gap right through here. So let's keep some eyes on that into next week. That gap is going to have some significance if price gets back down into that 50-50 area. But generally speaking, you know, as far as the context is concerned, let's keep in mind ES, all-time highs, just had a daily breakout yesterday. So buyers, again, really not in trouble on this thing. NQ failed breakout today. Definitely from a chart perspective, right, we want to be treating all of this area as resistance. This is still resistance. So cautious with the longs given the location in NQ. Now, as far as individual names, I do actually like BA. Zoom out a bit. Support through here. This actually looks decent for a potential swing even as well. Big time support zone. Just a technical setup. This is not in play, so see if some strength comes in above 2025 on Monday or next week. And then Carvana, second day play is going to be phenomenal. This was killer today. Look at that action. Big squeeze right off the open. Remember, this Carvana is 35% short float. So shorts are really in trouble on this thing. What we want to see on Monday is how price trades versus essentially 69.5, today's volume point of control. So hope everyone had a great week. Hope everyone had a great session. Hope the commentary has helped you make some money or at the very least stay out of trouble. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to send me a direct message this weekend. Be happy to get back to you and help you out. Otherwise, have a great evening. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Later.